Well, welcome to the Italian American Stories podcast. We appreciate you coming on. It's just me today. I don't know if you've listened to the episodes or not, but usually mom's here, but I don't think she was too keen on a video. So first, I want to go ahead and introduce your book, The New York Hot Dog King. It's a great read. I've been reading it the last few days.
Well, the beginning of it really ties into the Italian end of it,
It does.
and I've had
So
great people help me.
yeah, definitely. My husband, he's a Marine, and so he wanted me to tell you Semper Fi.
So simplify.
All
When was
right. He was in from 2000 to 2004, so he served in Iraq.
Oh, okay. Yeah, my
Yeah.
daughter was in the first one too.
Yep. Yeah, I saw that in the book. So, yeah, and now she's with you doing a hot dog cart.
Yeah, sure.
That's pretty exciting.
Yeah,
So,
you know, you, you can depend on no one I neither, so
there
that's a
you
plus.
go.
Yeah.
You got family right next to you when you're working.
Well, that could be a bad thing too.
Right, that's true. Yeah. So, all right, well, I'll let you, if you want to go ahead and start. I have a few questions, or if you just want to start talking
No,
about Italian
why
American
don't you hit
family.
me with questions?
All right, well, the first question I really want to know is, and it's not my main question, but what is your favorite hot dog toppings?
Oh, it's just New York style. It's spicy mustard, sauerkraut, and a little onion.
And a
That's it.
little onion. Okay,
Yeah.
nice. New York style. Perfect. Awesome. I guess one thing that I'd like to, it's the Italian American Stories podcast. Maybe we could start with perhaps your favorite memory, or like even just talking about maybe where your family came from in Italy. We could start there.
Well, my mother, her side came outside of Naples, and
Okay.
my father came from Palermo.
Oh,
So
okay.
you put those mixed together, and you got to fight every night.
You got to fight every day, right? Yeah. Yeah. Our family is from the Basilicata region and then Salerno, so Campania.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to just maybe tell me a few Italian American stories about your family or some fun memories that you have, and then maybe we could dive into the book after that.
Yeah. Well, that even in the book, growing up, I don't know if you know the Bronx at all.
I don't. I'm a Colorado girl.
Well, there's only basically when I was growing up, there were two Italian neighborhoods. There was our neighborhood, Villa Avenue, and then there was Arthur Avenue. But
Okay.
Arthur Avenue was like 20 times our size, So
Gotcha.
there was, but there was the guys from Villa Avenue married the girls from Arthur Avenue. The girl, it was one of those things. It was close. There was family all around.
Sure.
And what I remember is because of the neighborhood I was in, we were so we were land bound.
Mm.
We had 3 blocks, 99% Italian. So growing up, I thought everybody was Italian. Italian and Catholic. I didn't know there was anything else until I
Right.
started going to public school. Then I knew. And as far as the family, I mean, you could have walked into any of your friend's house, and as soon as you walked in, the mother would say, "Sit down and eat." That was great for me,
Definitely.
As a young kid, I think those are the things, and you
Yeah.
always saw the grandmothers watching over everyone, and it was so tight. It was so tight. I remember once my grandmother went out, and one of her sisters, was in the neighborhood, and maybe 3 or 4 of the other, women. And when you looked
Yeah.
at, they controlled the neighborhood because from them, everybody in the neighborhood is part of that family. I mean, it was like they were holding court. They had their
Right.
jugs of wine and sitting by them. I mean, it was great. I mean, how could you get better than that?
Oh, for sure. It's a world that I wish we could get back to be honest with you.
Well, but they're gone.
They are. They are.
There's no more Villa Avenue and there's no more Arthur Avenue. They're gone.
They're gone. Yeah.
That's the way it works.
It does. Even my mom, she was born and raised in Denver, and the Italian neighborhood there is even pretty sparse. Yeah.
Once the kids grow and they have kids, and now you're all American, and there's
Yeah.
my grandchildren don't know anything.
Yeah.
They talk to me. They say, "You're Italian." I said, "But you're Italian."
So are you.
It's because it's the home framework now. So, but
Yeah.
that's all right. You got to evolve, and that's what they've done.
You do for sure. And I think that's one thing that I want to do with my podcast is keep creating those stories and having those stories, live on, even the ones that have been forgotten. So and then that way we can have, some sort of a archive of our Italian American experience together. So I appreciate you coming on here, and your grandma. So I was talking about grandmas. She's in the book quite a bit, and it seems like she was, even after she passed, she was still with you.
Oh,
You had a few moments where like you felt the kiss and you knew it was from her.
oh yeah, she was. You know what it was? It was that if any of my family came, they answered. She was it.
Yeah.
It didn't matter. They were men. My uncles were all men, and didn't matter. When she was there, she was it. There was no nonsense. It was just. And me, the worst part about me is I basically was with her.
Yeah.
When I was small, and it was like I was her go-to guy. You
Yep.
know? And my cousins, they would stay far away because she would put them to work. So and then my cousins, the worst is that my cousins, now we're all old. And I'm going to be 75. My cousins are older, and they're still jealous of the fact that I was her favorite. I still
Right.
hear it. That is, we had a funeral. One of my aunts passed away some years ago, and when I went, naturally the whole family's there, and they lined up the tables. We're going to eat after everything, and my uncles and aunts was serving me, and even their own children had to get up and do their own, and I told my uncle, I says, "Unc, they hate me as it is. I mean, you're making it worse."
Right. No doubt.
But that all came from respect.
Sure.
My grandmother taught me to respect, and I respected all my uncles and aunts as if they were my mother and father. And they
Absolutely.
appreciated that because, the families get a little crazy sometimes.
They do.
You
Yep.
know,
Our Italian families get a little extra crazy sometimes
little extra
too.
crazy. I mean, they can hold a grudge for 100 years.
Absolutely. I feel
But
that one for sure.
yeah, but the one thing in my family with my mother is I was thinking about this the other day. I never ever heard her say a bad thing about anyone.
Wow.
Never, no matter how bad things were. And she always wanted to make the peace between the
Nice.
brothers and the sisters and all that. And my father's Sicilian. There's no peace with Sicilian. That's for the end of eternity. You've done something wrong. I'm going to remember it. But my mother was just
Exactly.
the opposite. Okay,
Yeah.
it's better. She never wanted to start things up. That
Yeah.
I think I got a half of both, because when I'm upset, the Sicilian side comes out, and when I want to be a nice guy, my mother's side.
Your side comes out. I mean, you got to have a balance, right?
Oh, good, good.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's quite a feat for your mom. I mean, it's hard to, like, I think we have that a little Italian flair in us, and it's hard to let things go sometimes. So that's
Oh,
pretty neat. Yeah. And so was your grandma that you talked about in the book, was that your mom's mom or your dad's
um,
mom?
my mom.
Mom's mom. Okay. Yeah. I liked the part about the wrestling. In fact, I might do a
Oh,
story on that Bruno.
God. I had to be quiet, and I was a little kid, and she had to watch it. She thought he was the greatest thing in the world. The strongman, Italian, all the champion, and all this. You know how it is.
Oh
You
yeah.
when the Irish had it, the Irish were like that, but she was overboard.
Sure, definitely. I did a episode on the Capra family a while ago, and that grandma loved the wrestling too, and she
Yeah.
was probably around the same age as your grandma. So I wonder if it was just a trend, like where they really
Well,
got into it, or
they came over from there. They had a connection.
true.
Now we got an Italian who's a champion in America. It's a
Yeah,
connection, and they're very proud of that.
that's true. That's a good point. I didn't think of that. Yeah. Yep. So grandma, she was the cook, right? Your mom, not so much.
Oh, my mother, she's a terrible cook. You know what it is? She always worked.
Yeah.
From an early age, all they did was push her to work. But for some reason, my aunts all picked up on the cooking. I mean,
Isn't that funny?
my mother, and I used to go to her. Ma, I hate to tell you, but this is bad stuff. Yeah, I would hurt her feelings sometimes. I didn't mean it, but she would try. Every time
Sure.
make like a cake or something, and I'd say, "Oh, this is great," but my God, just could never get the hang of it.
Yeah. Oh,
But
that's
work, you stop working.
Yeah, and she was did a lot of sewing. Like I remember something about the curtains and stuff in the
She
video
worked
or the book.
shops and all, she would do at home, anything to make that extra buck.
Sure, definitely.
They didn't make any money in those places.
Yeah, yeah. And so, how many siblings did you have?
I had four brothers.
Four brothers. Okay, all right. I know a couple of them passed away.
My youngest and my oldest have passed away. Yeah,
And yeah, all right. And then four daughters.
four daughters and 14 grandchildren.
14 grandchildren. Because I was reading the book and I saw the 14, but I was like, I wonder if another one's come
Great
in between.
way.
I'm sorry, what was that?
I said a great grandchild is on the way.
Oh, congratulations. That's very
Yeah.
exciting.
So I
Very
told the other
cool.
ones they got to get going because I'm getting.
You want to have those great grandbabies, right?
Hey, just to play with them and then give them back.
There you go. Definitely. All right. So, well, tell us about the hot dog business. How's it going today in
Well,
these days?
today they had a little event down where we are at the Met, and it's like a 1 mile run. So they closed off Fifth Avenue, and so I woke up this morning in the van, and there were about 1,000 kids out there running. So it was a little tougher for us to set up because couldn't get the van in there and nothing like that. But we did great.
Good.
We did it, and I got out of there so I could be here.
Awesome. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. So, but business is, after
Right
reading the
now,
book.
Labor Day is our cutoff point.
Okay.
Once Labor Day hits, the season goes down. So
Gotcha.
for the next 3 months, it just goes lower and lower, and January and February are horrible. So we
Okay.
actually have to work until May before things start to pick up again.
To pick up again.
But
So, oh, go ahead.
it's a good location. You know what it is? There are hundreds of better locations, but because we're in front of this museum, the Metropolitan Museum of Art, it's like
Yeah.
people think that that's the greatest location.
Gotcha.
And it's like a title.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things. So I'm the hot dog king. I'm in front of the Met.
You're in front of the Met. Yep. That's
But
exciting.
knock me down, believe me.
Yeah. After reading the book, it's,
Oh,
man, the struggles that you went through
still
for decades.
that book was written. What we did to try and promote the book is we put an A-frame in front of the cart promoting the book, and 11 cops showed up for us to take it down. 11 cops. And my daughter was there. It was a day that the museum was. We would work 7 days a week, and the museum is closed on Wednesday, and she would go anyway. And she calls me up. She said, "Dad, you're not going to believe this, but there's 11 cops here, and one of them's even got his hand on his gun, and
Gosh.
take this A-frame down." So I said, "Look, we've been through this 100 times with these guys, so just do whatever." They gave her a ticket, a $50 ticket, make her take the A-frame down. And when they went to court, the judge was laughing. Are you kidding me? With all that's going on in this city, and the point of it was the museum. If you read the book, there's a part at the end with that SWAT sticker that they had posted in front of there.
Mhm.
Well, the guy who runs the Met is from Austria,
Okay.
and he's very thin-skinned. And there was no intent to do something to say the wrong thing because I was the one who notified them about it in the beginning.
Sure.
They never took it down. They camouflaged it.
Oh,
That
no.
upset me because I remember I had two girls that were interviewing me, and I said, "What do you see there?" And they're looking, and it took them a few minutes, and they said, "I see a SWAT sticker."
Oh,
It was
jeez.
a blind way of doing it. You see it, but you don't see it.
Sure.
And then what was worse is right across the street there was one of these little, the light poles
Hmm.
that painted the exact SWAT sticker of that thing. So I knew whatever they did, it worked.
Yeah.
I painted over the little SWAT sticker, but they never. I can't. To me, you know what it is. I can't handle abuse.
Sure.
When I was a kid, I was small. I was very shy when I was a kid, and I went through that stage where you get picked on. And
Hmm.
today I said, I'm not going to get picked on no more, and that ended that. But it always stayed in my mind to never ever. And my grandmother too. You never pick on the weak.
Yeah.
You defend. You never do what you do that. You see people do that. They're really not strong people.
Yeah.
So when I see any of that nonsense with the Nazis and all that crap. It tears me up, and by them not taking the swastikas down in front of the Met, that bothered me.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, come on, guys. I know you
Yeah,
this thing. I know you didn't. There's no intent here, but whatever it is, it's wrong. What I don't understand is don't they realize what it is?
exactly.
Okay, so today you target this group, but when are they going to target you?
Yeah, for
You
sure. And I mean, like you said, it those kind of symbols, they don't target, they'll target anybody. That
yeah,
hatred can
no,
go
that's
anywhere.
what the guy is on the block.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
Yep. The
What,
sad
what
world
I'm
we live in.
what I'm going to do right now is I got to jump out
Okay.
to go plug in because I'm going to run out of batteries.
Okay,
So
gotcha.
just hang on. Take 1
Okay,
second.
no problem.
Just made it.
Oh, perfect. Those batteries. Are you in your cart right now?
No, I was right outside in the commissary where I keep the carts.
Oh,
I
gotcha.
had to go to the commissary to plug in. I didn't realize that I didn't have a cord in the car.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, great. So I wanted to ask you about, I don't know if you can see this, about this picture on page 3
Okay.
of your book.
God, yeah.
Yeah, I absolutely love this photo. I just, like, what a time for Italian Americans. It's just, you can see the
You can
housing together.
see everything, I mean, you see the family.
Exactly.
And then you see my grandmother, she's the one that, she was a little younger.
Yeah, by the door in the back.
Yeah.
Yep. I just love that picture. It's everybody sitting down, talking, and it's just, I don't know. It's like we talked about before. It's a time gone by, but like, what a great picture.
Well,
So
it's like when you go in an Italian house, everybody lives in the kitchen,
exactly. Yep. Yeah,
Even
we have
house, when I go home, there's that time we got to be in the kitchen,
exactly.
Now with the kids, everybody's got these phones and they got all this stuff and all this. It's
Yep.
a lot different.
Even now, my husband and I, we just bought a house and we have a formal dining room that's away from the kitchen, but
Yeah.
we put our dining room table in the kitchen because we're always in there.
Always in? You're right.
Yeah. So talking about your grandma, can you tell the listeners the story about her and her stick?
Oh, she was not a tall woman, but she was a stout woman. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And for she would be in charge of all the kids. She'd always be watching. There was always one of my cousins was always a little wacky. He was always, one of us had always something. And out of nowhere, this stick came, and she would give him. You wouldn't hit him hard, but more like terror. You're gonna get it.
Sure.
I don't know how she kept it snuck under the.
I don't either.
That was true because my cousins would always like really walk on their toes when they were around it.
Right? Yeah. Oh my gosh.
I don't think she ever even raised her voice to me.
Gotcha.
What are you gonna do?
Yeah. Oh, I love that story. I laughed so hard when I read that.
That's true. My cousins would be scared to death when they were around.
So what did your grandma like to cook?
Oh, if you name it. Everything.
Yeah.
She was good.
She was good. What was your favorite?
I would eat with her. A lot of base. I slept in the bed for a few years, so
Sure. What was your favorite dish that she would cook?
Oh, any kind of pasta she made. I mean, we would make our own, so we'd have these boards all over the house with the pasta laid out to dry, and we walk in, you would think, where the hell you are, boards all over the place.
Yeah.
Very, very simple, simple meals, and that was it. We would sit down, and there would be sausage and peppers, and you never wanted. When I walked into my grandmother's and my aunts, it was just a natural thing.
Yeah.
It was natural. It was and even when some of my friends, you go there and their mothers would say, sit down, it's like, I remember once the city was closing down the streets to the vendors. And there was one vendor that I knew for a long time, and he says, Dan, I'm going to do a hunger strike. And I said, well, that's not going to get you nowhere. So he says, but I'm afraid, will you stay with me? I said, you want me to stay with you? So no, it's good. So for 3 nights, I stayed with him because, and after the third night, I was actually on a TV show with Ed Koch when he was around.
Okay.
And he was talking about it. And I said, yeah, I was with him, but I'm Italian. Italians don't go on hunger strikes.
No.
That wasn't going to, I would stay with him because he was afraid that, because we had a lot of problems with certain people,
Sure.
Me being there kind of gave him that little extra courage.
Yeah.
And the end result was I kept the street open.
Oh, nice.
That was good. I lost I kept the street open.
But you still got to eat though when he didn't. So
when I looked at it, I told Ed Koch, it's like sacrilege. You can't. Italians are going to go on hunger strike. It could never happen.
It never happens. No. Not even for like a couple hours. It's not going to happen. Yeah. So, well, let's talk about growing up Italian. So how do you think you're, being raised as an Italian household with grandma and your family, how do you think that influenced the rest of your life?
Well, it's just solid with the family, like
Mhm.
with my kids and everything, like even with my brothers, there's no nonsense, I know families that are at war with each other all the time, and we were never that way. It was
Yeah.
always hold it together, Yeah, I got 4 daughters where they're like my aunts. They argue, but they could argue with each other. You don't argue with them, It's just it's family that you just don't see anymore,
Sure. Definitely.
To get back to cooking, one of my closest friends was Marty McGinnis, an Irish kid. So it's Christmas time, and he says, Dan, come on, you come over to my house to eat. And okay. I knew his mother and father. They were really sweethearts. I sit down, and they put these green things in front of me, like peas and mashed potatoes. And I'm looking at it, and the mother says, what's the matter? I says, I never saw this stuff. What is this? So I ate a little bit. I said, now you come to my house, Marty. Now you eat.
Now
I don't
you
know
eat.
what the hell I was eating there, buddy.
And what did Marty think when he got to your house?
Are you kidding? The lasagna was out. Everything was out. Sit down and eat. My family loved him. So,
Yeah. And he loved your food too, right?
But that was something that stood out to me. I was just looking, and the mother's looking at me and said, what's the matter? And I said, what is all this?
It's just bland colors.
There's life in that food,
And so, yeah, my mom tells me a story that she went to her best friend lived across the street from her, and they were not Italian, and she would go over there and have dinner with them every once in a while. And the mom got into cooking Italian food, and my mom walked over and was like, no, I can't, I can't eat this. Like this is an Italian food.
my wife's aunt, who recently passed away, God bless her soul, she's a good girl. When we were dating, my wife's half Irish. So we go there, and her aunt would always try and make me feel comfortable, because they were strict Irish. They thought Italian was in the mafia. You got to be careful with them.
Yeah.
I went, and she tried to make baked ziti, and she put it in front of us, and I'm eating. I said to my wife, what is this? What am I eating here? Well, it's supposed to be baked ziti, with the sauce out of the jar. Oh, God, it was. I said, this is great.
Like, yeah, this is wonderful.
Let's get the hell out of here.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. Do you still make sauce? Or I don't know if you call it sauce or gravy or.
My wife used to do it, but my wife had a stroke some years ago, and that all faded away.
Yeah. How is your wife doing?
Yeah, she's okay. To be expected, she's doing okay.
Good. That's good. So, and then she's in Connecticut still, right?
Right. No, what we did was, since my daughter and I are both veterans, we were bouncing around renting places here and there. And my daughter has 2 kids. And I said, these kids need a home, So she said, why don't we see if we can combine our veteran benefits with the, getting a loan for a house. And I said, well, give it a shot. And we did. And we were able to get a house, with nothing down, got a big mortgage, but we're going to handle that.
Sure.
And you know what it is? When I lost my home through foreclosure, it kind of lost it for me.
Hmm.
You know, I've been there, I've done that. I did it right, and they took it away, and
Yeah.
it bothered me. But now, you know, it's different now. You know, one of the things that happened to me when I came back from Vietnam is that to bury the war, I would just block it,
Hmm.
you know, and try and block everything. And the same thing happened here. I blocked it. As soon as there was something that was negative to me, I would block it out. And I didn't have that push anymore to get back into a house and all that. It was just for so many years, you know.
Yeah.
And then you know, I got to tell you, just reading the book, I just started to do it on audio. My first session, I sat the other. My daughter's convinced me, you got to do it, got to do it. All right, and the book will get me angry when I start reading
Sure.
this book and reading about what these people did. And I mean, this is just a fraction. This book is just a small fraction of what they did to me. You know,
Yeah.
how I was played, like I was there. I was just made a complete fool of by people I trusted. You know, what are you gonna?
Um, and even when I was reading the book, I think my jaw was just opened through that good section in the middle where it's just, you know, battle after battle after battle with the city and mayors and all. I can't even imagine what
I,
you went
I was
through.
3 course at the same time. You know, and then I realized it's got nothing to do with who's right and wrong. It's all politics. All the
Hmm.
were political. It was who was in the newspaper. They made me out to be such an evil person.
Yeah.
I was in the newspaper all the time just because I exposed some corruption on their end. And you know, you can't do that. Powerful
Well,
people.
and
Yeah.
that's what's frustrating is not only are you battling for your livelihood, but you're battling for you, for your honor and for who you are and what you stand for. And I
You know,
can't.
I sat down and I would say, "You back away from the vets," you know, and I said, "That ain't gonna happen.
Yeah.
Ain't gonna happen. I'm never gonna do that. I carry too many wounded and dead Marines. Nobody's gonna tell me to back away from helping these people." And so
Yeah.
then you got to go down. And then when they took it away, to have a former Speaker of the Assembly tell me we had to punish you. Who do you think you are that you can go and do this? But
So,
I stood my ground, and what happened happened. And I never realized. I guess I never wanted to believe that they would go so far, because they never stopped.
no.
You know, they just know they had to destroy everything about me. And
Yep.
and the one good thing about it is after they took the businesses and everything, they shut me down, and I still stayed to protect the vendors in the street, not only veterans but everybody. You know, but didn't help me any other way.
Small victories, right?
Yeah, well, look at now. You know, look at things now.
Yeah.
Um, I get up and go to work every day. The people around me. Yesterday, I had maybe 3 or 4 people come to me and shake my hand. I read your book, Dan. I like it. I'm from Germany. I saw you on on Netflix. You got a great, you know. I mean, these are great things. You know,
Yep.
I don't think they get that.
No.
They do. It's only from yes people. It's not from sincere people. You know, and you know, not. And I don't wish harm on anybody.
Sure.
Really,
And
do.
not, oh, go ahead.
I mean, what they've done. You know, can you imagine what they did to me and how many other people they've done things like this to? Just
It,
because they could,
yeah.
you know,
The corruption runs deep for sure.
they're
It's
in it. They have
scary.
that power. That power just can't. It grabs them. You know. So what are you gonna do? We'll see.
And not to get, I don't want to give too much away out of the book because we want people to buy and read your book, but to sum it up, you know, could you maybe just sum up super quick, like kind of what you went through during that time? And like I said, I don't want to give too much away because we want people to buy and read your book,
Well,
but just for our listeners, so they maybe understand what we're talking about a little.
what they did first is they took away the permits that I had, and I even told my guys, I said, look, that's not the end of the world. We still know how to build carts.
Hmm.
But then they went ahead and shut down my they actually in an inspection when I was bringing carts to be inspected, they said these are Dan Rossi's carts, don't inspect them. That shut down my manufacturing, and that was a really sad point because I had to lay off my men. You know, these guys were with me for 15 years, some of them. That from the day I started, you know, I when I first started, all I do is hire Vietnam vets because nobody would
Yeah.
help. And then naturally guys come and go and everything, but we had a strong group, real solid. And for me to tell these guys it's over, I lost something in myself, as
Yeah.
far I was concentrating so much on fighting them. I didn't realize you can't fight them because they don't get in the ring. They do
Oh,
the
that's
that.
a great point.
You're waiting to fight and they don't show up. So then you wait and you wait and you wait, and then you realize with all I went to meetings and I did demonstrations and the politicians are so phony.
Mm-hmm.
They just have no integrity, no decency. What the one guy actually conned us into believing something. He actually had a vote on a bill that they didn't have in print. Imagine, I remember when the councilman says, we're voting on a blank piece of paper.
Jeez
And they voted
Louise.
unanimously, and then they picked and choose who they were going to help. It was bad. I mean, why would you do that?
Yeah.
They actually came to me and they said, well, if you don't want the bill, nobody works. I said, no, don't do that. Don't do that. Give these people back their livelihoods. I'm not
Yeah.
against anybody. I says, but and I challenged them. I said, instead of hurting these people, I know I'm the target. Instead of hurting these people, find what I'm doing wrong. And if you see I'm doing something intentionally wrong, I'll give you my permits. I'll give you my business. But don't do what you're doing. So they did it just the opposite. They took everybody's business, but they gave everybody back a chance to go back in business except me. But it's still the wrong thing. I mean, it was really dirty what they did. It was dirty.
Yeah.
I remember running into one of the health department. In fact, the woman who actually in the book, who actually said, when everything was really bad, and I was trying to get back on my feet. I got a few days of work up in Boston to do some home repair, from a family member. And on the way back, she's in the train. And hey, Dad, how you doing? Oh, great. And I said to her, I said, you people hurt a lot of really good people. And she just looked at me, blank. Look, I'm just a good soldier. I said, that don't work with me.
Mm-mm.
That don't work with me. I was in Vietnam. If somebody gave me an order to do the wrong thing and in my mind it was wrong, it ain't getting done. You put me in a brig, do what you got to do. But I'm not going to lose my integrity and who I am following a lousy order, but that's how faith. That's how you bang into people, you know. Just a couple months ago, again they shut me down for about a month, and they wanted me to concede to what they were saying, and I said, "This ain't gonna happen, guys." It was so stupid. You had to be complete dummy to do what they want. They wanted me to get a license that prohibited me from selling food, so I could sell food. I said, "Well, when I become a jackass, I'll let you know." It's not gonna... So for 3 weeks, they held their ground, and then all I did was I texted them. I says, "You should seriously reconsider your position." Meaning that if I don't get back to work, we're going to court.
Yeah.
They couldn't put that permit back on that cart fast enough. They were falling over each other to do it. And the same woman who basically put me out of business, she's assistant commissioner now. She called me up, Dan, what's the problem? I said, well, they're trying. She says, they're not trying, they're going to do it. Your permit's going back on the cart. I said, well, thank you very much,
Yeah.
But that's a little too late,
Yeah, right, exactly.
But
Man, it's just never ending battle.
What?
It's just never ending battle for you with that.
It's still not going to end because I got one more thing to do. I was able. What I did was I was able to get the disabled veterans permits. But what the city did was they tied them in to very strict locations, which is illegal. But the reason they gave them permits is not because they were disabled, was because they're just veterans. So they're not giving the non-disabled veterans permits. They locked them. So I'm going to get all the veterans their permits, and see what happens. That's my last battle.
That's your battle.
That's it. That's going to happen soon enough.
Yeah. Is that in like the courts and stuff right now, or?
Oh no, we're working on that right now.
Working on that.
What I have to do is I have to go in there and actually have just a veteran go, a non-disabled vet,
Okay.
But it's tough because you're not talking about it's going to happen in 3 days. This is a few years.
Yeah.
They drag you. You know, it's like what they did when you read about me being in court all the time. What you get a decision that you think is favorable to you, and the city picks out one word, and then you have to go to court again, and then you got to go to court again. They have there was a word for that they have when they try and drain you of your money. Well, come on, it doesn't take much to drain us of our money.
No.
That's why you don't see veterans fighting for their rights. They can't afford this.
Mm-mm. They
So
drain you of your energy, your time, and your money.
sure. The one thing that I have is that the last few lawsuits I did with the help of a lawyer, and he passed away too. God rest his soul, and a woman by the name of Barbara Morris. She,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I even with the book, I wrote the book, but my grammar isn't the greatest, you know. And she edited, and I made sure that there were no adjectives in the book. He said it to me. He said, "What kind of book is this? It's not, you know." I said, "This, it's me."
Yeah.
When you read the book, you're hearing my voice. I don't want to hear about this fairy tale stuff because that means it's not a good book.
Right.
You know. No.
Yeah. No, I truly, it's a great book. And that one part where she says, "Oh, those are Dan Rossi cards." I had to put the book down at that point. I couldn't believe she said that. It blew
It's
me
worse.
away.
My cousin Janice was worked for me, you know, in the office, and she would go to the inspections, and she was friendly with everyone there. She's just a friendly girl. And as the inspector's writing these things up, that's when the supervisor came in and did it. And she came back crying.
Yeah.
And she knew what that meant. She knew that was the end of us. You know, I mean, if you build a car and you can't get it past inspection, it's not
You're
going to happen.
done.
And they were working. The city was working with the black market, and the business groups were working with the black market to make sure I never got back on my feet. And the reason for that is because I'm a disabled vet. And I could take those disabled vets and put them in the midtown Manhattan where no one's allowed to go. And that's the worst thing that could happen for them.
Yep. Yeah. And
That was bad.
yeah, that blew me away. I couldn't, like I said, I had to put the book down.
There were 4 carts there, and they were identical. And the first one passed inspection, the other 3 didn't. But all she had to do, and she didn't go up there in a nice way. My cousin said she yelled it. So everybody in the place, and that goes through the industry in 2 minutes.
Sure.
And that was it. That was the end of my shop. It would just shut me down. I
Yeah.
had a few orders that I had. People called me up there, and I want to cancel my order. It happened right the next day, and I said, "Well, that's it." You know, and I hung on for a while, doing nothing with the guys. And then I said, "Guys, you know,
You can't keep going. Yeah. Yeah,
right."
that's
You know, I made sure that without them knowing it, I had annuity plans. I always looked out and made sure that everybody was good, even the guys now. You know, there are times I don't take pay and everybody gets paid. That's important. They got families, you know.
yeah.
The people don't do that anymore, but you have to do that.
And let's talk about, maybe we could talk about that a little bit, about your work now with the disabled veterans, kind of,
Well,
what you're doing.
it was good before the pandemic. My daughter was in the Marines, and when she came out, a lot of the guys, you know, they did a couple of tours in Iraq and Afghanistan. And it's like anything else. Your husband, if he was there, you know, when you come back, there's just something different. And a lot of these guys, they couldn't get back on their feet. They're not back on their feet. They just couldn't take nonsense from people.
Yeah.
You go to war, and when you come back, you mature 5 years. So you're when I came home, I was 20. I was as mature as a 30-year-old.
Sure.
What I saw, what I was looking at, what these 20-year-olds were doing, I said, "What is this? Is all nonsense." Compared to where I was real things, you know.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, you come back. I joined when I was 17. So when I came back, I was 17. All my friends were 21.
Yeah.
You know, you remember when you left and you just didn't fit in anymore, you know. And
Yeah.
I did was I told my daughter, I says, "Whoever wants to work, any of these guys, you bring them." We had quite a few, you know. We only had mine and my daughter's cart, but we put 4 or 5 guys and got them in. And after a while, I said, "Okay, I had enough."
Yeah.
You're not going to be a vendor. You're not yelling at people. You're not. I would go in the car. I see a guy was a little bit upset. Go take a break. I see him.
Yeah.
I would work for 2 hours, get them out. Because I went through it.
Mm-hmm.
And only people who go through it understand what that person's going through. I mean, you're selling hot dogs, but you're thinking about some bad stuff that happened. Or the night before you had a dream, and more like a nightmare.
Sure.
That happens. I did 2 tours in Nam. I even signed up for a 3rd tour, and I never remember being afraid 1 second the whole time I was there. But that doesn't mean you're not afraid.
Yeah.
You understand? So when you come home and when you see the PTSD and everything, every combat veteran has some percentage of PTSD. Everyone, even I know.
Absolutely.
I'm not gonna. I don't dwell on that. I bury it. But there are times at night when you're sleeping, you can't bury that. And these kids couldn't do it. But now, one kid went back to college. Another guy's a manager in a Home Depot. Another, one guy's in jail. But
well, what do you do?
got two out of 3 of those.
Exactly.
But it was good to help them, even in the beginning. When I'll give you a story. When I first started, I started with a group in Brooklyn, and one of the guys we hired were basically Vietnam vets. I interviewed the guys and I hired them. And then when these guys did the wrong thing and I had to pull out, well, after all, then when I opened my own shop, it was the same thing. If a vet walked in the door, he got hired. But when everything went bad for me and everything was over, and then I started to come back when I, thinking about going in front of the Met and starting to build up a name again and starting to build a few bucks in my pocket, I went down to the VA and I told them, because they got a program where they would help both small businesses. If they hired vets, they would help them with half of their salary for a few months.
Oh, nice.
It's a great program. So the guy in there, and he said 3 times he said this to me. He said, "You're a Vietnam vet, right?" I said, "Yeah." And we're talking. He says, "You're a Vietnam vet, right?" I said, "Yeah." 3rd time, "You're a Vietnam vet, right?" Because he was my age now. He says, "No, I don't think I'm going to help you." And that's not when I first came out of at a service, I went to the VA. They said the same thing. We're not helping Vietnam vets. And let me tell you something. What I said to them when I first came out, I'll do it on my own. It's the same thing when I walked. I wanted to throw the guy out the window, but he didn't have a window.
Blessing in disguise, baby.
Nothing's changed for us. The Vietnam vets got the worst treatment out of any serviceman in the history of this country. Everybody got back on us, and it happened again. I mean,
it did. And what was his reasoning? The guy works for the VA. Like, what's his reasoning?
Vietnam vets got such a bad. When I came home, just so you get how brainwashed people were about us, I had really bad athlete's feet. What athlete's feet? I mean, from where we were and all this stuff. My mother actually thought I was shooting drugs in between my toes, because people in the sweatshop where she worked said all Vietnam vets are drug addicts. And I looked, I says, "Are you talking about me?" I said, "Listen, don't listen to people." My mother wasn't educated or anything, but she's sitting there 10 hours a day with these people talking these stupid things, and it sits in their heads,
Yeah.
That's the way it was for every Vietnam vet. I didn't care who you were. I don't care if you were an officer. I don't care who you were. You came back with this little thing on your shoulder, that people branded you. And you got the people who were doing this were the same people that were your friends once. I come from a very tough neighborhood. You didn't. I'm telling you, when you didn't belong there, you weren't there. It was that tough. I remember my wife. I guess the only friend she still has lived in Brooklyn, and when they got married when we were young, she says in Brooklyn, a lot of Italians. I mean, this was Italian on top of Italian, and I got out there and I felt a little bit, when you're meeting people. and I'm speaking to the mother and father, and that was like speaking to my uncle and aunt, you know. And the father says to me, he says, "Well, where you from, Dan?" I said, "In the Bronx." He says, "Where?" And I said, "Well, you never heard of this place." He said, "Well, where?" He says, "Villa." I said, "Villa." He said, "Villa Avenue." And then we're in the middle of Brooklyn. I never been there my whole life. He says, "We know Villa Avenue." Now that's between Italians now. We know
Yeah.
Villa Avenue. You know, that was it.
That was it.
That's something. I mean, that blew me away with that. I said,
Oh,
I know it. We're 3 blocks long. And he says some really real people came out of that neighborhood. You know what he's talking about, you know.
sure.
That's the Italian thing.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's great. Yeah, it just your
We're going in circles here because the stories keep popping in my head, you know.
hey, I'm all for it. Like it's just a great conversation. So you just tell stories away. I love it. Yeah. So and your service with the veterans, I like just having that it sounds like you were a good transition person for them, kind of help them. And then because you could relate to them, you understood what they went through and then help them kind of move on to their next stage.
You know, there was a city council meeting once where they were going to allot money, and where they were giving it to were these politically connected people. And there were a few veteran guys veteran groups that were actually helping them out of their own pocket, you know. So I went there, I said, "Why are you giving money to these people? They're not veterans. They don't, but why are you doing it? Because they got a title? Because why? Because they're connected politically with you guys?" I said, "These are the men that are doing it, and they're taking it out of their own pocket." I says, "If you're going to do it, you give the money to them.
Yeah.
That they don't do something silly. I know you're not going to monitor your friends. You know, they're going to give them the money. Oh, we did great. You know, that's the way it is. You know,
It is.
we have absolutely no friends in city government. The veterans, not one. You
It's
know,
sad.
one vet convinced me to go to a council hearing, and I didn't want to go. I didn't want to. I didn't want to have anything to do with it. They convinced you got to come then. You got to come then. Okay. I sat in the back. I didn't want to talk. He gets up there. He's talking. He says, "Well, the real person you got to talk to is Dan." I said, "There we go." He sucked me right in. And I went up there, and the councilman, I said, the first time I met him before, I said, when I met you, you told me to my face that you were going to do what you can for vets. I said, 2 years went by. I haven't seen you do a damn thing. And I told the other council people, I said, I'm getting tired of hearing how sorry you were for vets. And I said, you guys don't give two craps about us.
Yeah.
And I was really mad. I was actually, I put them all in their place. And then when leaving, one of the councilwomen, she says, Dan, you're right. When I leave here, I don't even know what a vet is. There are no vets in the city council. They don't care about veterans. They're trying to take away our rights every which way we can. Because, hey, did you contribute money to me? No? Goodbye.
Right.
That's what it is.
You can't help me raise up to the next level, so see you later.
Later. My buddy over here, I'm going to be a state senator, and then I'm going to come back and be a councilman, and I'm going to be a state senator again. That's if you go through their histories, that's all they do is bounce from one thing to the other.
Yeah.
Really good, and they really, could I say, kiss ass?
Yeah.
Then they become what's called the Business Improvement District president. Now, that's the cream job that's better than any other job in the world. Because you make your six figures, you're up there with your 200, 300 grand a year, whatever, and you don't do anything. Nothing. All you do is go to these luncheons, and because now what you're doing, you're representing all the real estate interests. And in Texas, it's oil. In New York, it's real estate.
Gotcha.
You want to be the mayor? You give me what I want.
Yep.
That's who it is. Who hates the real estate guys? They hate me more than any other person in the world because of what I can do. They came after. It was so easy for them to come after me is because so much negative press at the time, and there was no internet. They could have never done what they did to me now. Now I can speak to you.
Yep.
You understand? What they did then, they controlled the newspapers. They controlled the newscasters. I mean, I went with them to Had writers told me that they didn't write the story.
Exactly.
They didn't write the story, and they put their name on it because they needed a paycheck. Because that's how much, you know.
And you know, is like you said, now there's smaller, there's podcasts, there's, you know, people who report
Can't do it.
news.
Can't do it now. You
They
got to be.
can't.
Everything I'm saying to you, is the truth. I don't lie to anybody. I'm not play games with anybody. They're afraid of that.
Mm-hmm.
Go to the sound council meeting. I said, when I talk on top of the table. You guys are under the table doing your deal. Everything I'm saying to you is on top of the table. And you don't want to hear that.
Yeah.
It's like friends. You get married, you have kids, your life goes in a different direction. You know, we all separate. You know, it's not that we don't want to be friends, is that now I got to work 16 hours a day. You know, my wife is, you know,
Yeah.
and that's it. So we have problems, and you really don't give any real thought to what's really happening in politics. You just listen for a few seconds, and that's it. And if it sounds good to you, you know, and you don't listen to the truth. When you don't want to listen to the truth, you don't. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you just run with it because, like you said, we all have lives. Like the politics is not our lives. 95% of us out there, and so we just move on to our next priority on our list. And
I give you a great day today. Last night, when I had to go take the cart to be cleaned, the starter on my truck went. Now we're already 10 o'clock at night, so I couldn't bring the cart back. And now we got to push it across the street. There's no power steering. You have no idea how this thing was hard to push across the street. Now I'm in the van. It's 1 o'clock in the morning. Get knock on the door to the cops. You got to move your van. I'm sorry, guys, I can't. He said, well, we're having an event tomorrow. I forgot all about this thing with this race. And so they told me. The cops told me around the corner. So at 7 o'clock in the morning, I'm unloaded, walking down, loading the truck, walking that block down to the thing, back and forth, and until my guys come, you know, and they had naturally right away they jump in and everything is done, and then I had to come here. So
so this was last night.
Last night.
Oh my gosh.
And it just rolls off my shoulder.
Yeah.
I've been through so much that all right, okay.
Yeah. Just a small little thing. I can handle that. No big deal.
I thought I was going to have a heart attack last night.
Oh my God. Yeah. That's we have power steering is a luxury that I don't think people realize.
I didn't have it when my first car. I bought an old jalopy, but I don't remember it being this tough, boy.
Yeah. I know it's crazy. Tell us about the name on your truck, on your hot dog cart.
Okay.
Too.
Well, there's two. There's Dave Gonzalez and John Bonnet. Now, both of these men served. We were in the same squadron, and I put them up there. These guys were friends, you know, and they got killed. And the things that stands out is that the day that Dave got killed, I would have been with him, you know. Well, I would have been the gunner on that. The way UEs work, you got a pilot, a co-pilot, a crew chief, and a door gunner. So the crew chief takes one gun on one side, and the gunner takes the other. His helicopter was being repaired, so he signed up as the gunner to go on this mission. Well, and it just was a matter of him and then me right behind him. So I would have been. And I went on my own mission, you know, on to another one. And when I came back, he was killed. So, you know, to me, it was, you know, and if you knew this guy, he was like, if you wrote down the definition of a Marine, this guy is a Marine. He just wanted to get into it all. You know, there was certain group of us. Not everybody wants to go into combat.
Mm-hmm.
It was like a fit. It was something that we fit in. Not that we were killers or anything, but it fit us, so we did it. And then with John Bonnet, when I came back on my second tour, he was a Lance Corporal, and he was married with a kid. And I said, John, you got to pick up rank. So I'm going to show you what to do because, on something. And then I'm going to, it was a special fix on a helicopter. And he comes over and he's got his flight suit on and his machine gun on his shoulder. I said, where you going? He's, no, I want to go fly. All right. And I was mad. I said, what are you doing? I was upset with him, I'm setting everything up for you. I'm trying to get you to the next stage. And that was it. He got killed. So you remember, that was a bad thing that I was pissed off at him. But, I was pissed off in a good way. I was trying to do the right thing by him. But
yeah,
so those two guys is,
And those are the names that are on your hot dog cart. Yeah, that's pretty special.
Yeah, it is. In fact, Dave Gonzalez's niece found out. They live in California, and she texted us to thank us.
Oh wow!
That our uncle's name was on there, and she was very honored that we did it. So
that's really cool.
You
never know who that kind of stuff is going to reach.
Yeah. No, we got the Marines come all. The Marines are a different breed.
Yeah.
Husband is going to tell you that. I don't care about the services. The services are great, but Marines are Marines. We don't want to know about anything else. Even if they could be 10 times better than us, but in our heads, we're better than them.
It was funny because I was reading your book and I came to that one part where you were talking about how, I think it was when you first got to boot camp and you knew that the Marines were going to be treated different. Like you guys had to run up the stairs or around the building. And so
you had all these guys that were being, Whitehall Street was like a center point. All the draftees came there and whoever enlisted. So the Marines, we were all enlisted. There weren't that many of us, compared to the Army guys. Then when that sergeant said, the Marines come over here, I said, uh-oh. And other guys are lounging, reading books, and we're running up the steps.
Yeah, I ran into the room where he was, and I was like, I have to read you this part. And he was like, yep, that's true. It's true. Yeah, my husband, I don't know if you've heard the episode that I had. My husband's name is Jared, and he did an episode with me last Veterans Day, and we did it on Anthony Casamento. He was a Marine veteran who fought really hard to get his benefits. So that was a pretty good episode.
The veterans, you really gotta go at it, with the benefits. The vets don't do it.
Yeah.
I didn't do it for so long. And then finally I said, let me put it in. And the next thing I know, I got this, I got that. I mean, I live at the VA sometimes. I got appointments, so many appointments. I'm saying,
it's true.
Can I feel my legs? I tell the doctor, So, well, you got this, Agent Orange. You did this to you, did that to you. Oh, all right, okay.
And then you like, what do you do? Yeah.
Some of these men could really use the help.
Yep.
Use that money, and they could use the service, and they just don't know.
And they deserve it. They need to, like you said, though, it's hard to. There's loops that you have to jump through, of course, to get those benefits. But then if you don't even know where to begin, it's how do you even approach that?
My daughter, she was on the ball, and when she came out at a Corps, she was a reserve. She went to a community college. And she was doing so well that the professors got her to go to Smith University. It's an all-women's college.
Okay.
Country. And she got a scholarship to go there. They helped her get there. So she's on the ball as far as looking at everything. And I tell her, you got to find out this about me. And she does it, gives me a hard time all the time, but she ends up doing it, and she does it right. She does her research on it, and as far as she just did it with my brother. My brother's in the Navy.
Okay.
And he wasn't in Vietnam. He was Vietnam era. He went, and I went in after him. And he's going blind in one eye. He could hardly hear. And I told him years ago, why aren't you going to the VA? Because he was a radar man. So, and he, same typical thing. No, my daughter convinces him to go. And his records, his military records, show that he had ear problems when he was in the military, and that in the Navy, when they're not doing anything, they scrape the ship. They paint. All they do is scrape and paint. That's all their job is. and his eyes had paint contamination.
Oh no.
Because I said, well, you got it in your records that your eye, you're going to have, you're already blind in one eye now, and you can't hear. And so my daughter is taking him right now, taking him through the steps.
Oh,
The guy 8
good.
years old. You should have did this 30 years ago.
Exactly. Better late than never, but yeah, it would have been beneficial then. So,
Help it. Even whatever they gave you is going to help you. I mean, they got it in your records. You're going to get something. You know.
oh, definitely. Yeah. Oh, poor guy. Gosh. Well, at least your daughter's helping him out. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
You got to take him by the hand. You know, you got to do this. You gotta...
Yep. Get in there and start fighting.
He says, I can't sit here and wait a half hour for them to pick up the phone. You got to sit. She says, you got to.
Oh, man. Yep. So I was watching a video. I can't remember who he was interviewing you, and they were talking about Alaska.
Oh,
and you talked about Alaska. That is your dream. So
I'm going to be 75 pretty soon. I got 15 more years to go.
Perfect.
I'm gone. I told my wife, I don't care what you say. I'm gone. You know, she says, I ain't coming. All these things that you wanted to do, and I'm going to become very rich doing it because I saw it on the internet. There was this young girl with a metal detector, and she picked up a pail full of gold. I said, well, that's so easy.
Like, that's what I'm doing. That's my goal. Oh, that's great. 15 years.
If I make it.
Oh, you will.
I will.
Absolutely. You're quite the fighter. And this book proves how much of a fighter you are. Like, it was a great book.
But since the book came out, like I told you, they went ahead and they tried to stop it with the cops, and they shut me down twice since then. I'm just over the book.
Over the book.
Over the book. It's all about the book and the Met. They got a lot of power. So every opportunity they get,
they go for it.
Yeah. They did. Sometimes the one time they shut me down the first time after the book. I've been shut down maybe 5 or 6 times. I've been arrested 6 times. So just so everybody knows this. Yeah. And they wrote things down that, what I would do is I would get the carts cleaned and come back and I would watch them every night. And this has been going on for years. So the Met got to them and they came down and they scraped the decals off of mine and my daughter's cart while I was sleeping.
Oh my gosh.
They said that we left food in there. Now, if you leave food in there, they could shut you down. They have a legitimate reason, but not if I'm there. Well, anyway, I says, well, let me get this straight. And they said they had pictures of the food. That was the key. So I had to wait 9 months to go to court. 9 months. We go into court and I said, look, let's settle this right away. Let's see the pictures. No, we don't have any pictures. I said, you wrote it down. You have pictures. Oh, no, we don't have pictures. I said, well, it says I have food here. Well, it could have been food. We couldn't see. And the judge looked at them. By the way, I got angry. Mr. Rossi, relax. I'm here with this. And she knew they were lying through their teeth. I said, guys, we lost a few weeks of work because you thought there was food in there. Why would I clean a cart, come back and throw food in there, knowing that you could shut me down?
Yeah.
That's their game. That's their game. And the judge knew right away. She said, look at these guys, what they're doing to this guy. What's going on, guys? I mean, you can't do it unless there's food. Why would anybody do that?
Yeah.
Why a pack of hot dogs and throw it on a cold grill and then go to sleep? I mean, but that's the city. That's when you deal with corrupt people.
Yeah.
Well, we just said, yeah, give it to us. We didn't care because we weren't looking for any other location. We were just looking to protect my location.
Sure.
And whether it's a good thing or bad, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. We're working, Yeah. You should have said this and should have said that. Yeah, I should have said a lot of things, but we're working. And that's what's important.
Exactly.
Right now, if you went in front of the Met, you see at least 15 carts that shouldn't be there. And there's just me and my daughter's cart that should be there. So,
wow. Like you said, they pick and choose.
What's that?
Like you said, they pick and choose.
Yeah, they pick and choose, and it's beyond politics. There's a lot of nonsense going on.
Yeah.
A lot of nonsense, you know.
Just
I
trying to
you
sell some hot dogs.
know, first cart that I had inspected back in 1985, and they tried to shake me down. That's the way I am, you know. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
I'm not going to give you money so you can pass my cart. And I had a few inspectors come, and they were looking. If there's something wrong with the cart, tell me what it is. I built it. I'll fix it.
Yeah.
You understand? And when you're not part of that little group, you're the enemy.
Yeah.
If all the other guys are throwing that $50 down or $20 or whatever they're giving you, and you're not,
You're the outsider.
the outsider. I've been the outsider since day one.
Yeah. Well, you saw that with your Uncle Joe's house when they were rebuilding it.
Yeah. That I got to tell you, it was a terrible thing that was a good thing, you know, when that happened, because I was really falling into the bottle. It was really, there was I wish I had somebody like me to talk to. Went through it.
Yeah.
All the guys I knew, like World War II guys, they never spoke about the war at all. That was
Yeah.
like shut down, you know. So nobody related to it, you know. I had like none of my friends, and the guys who came back from Nam, my friends that did come, they were in the same boat as me.
Yeah.
We were outsiders, all of us, you know. I mean, like I said, I came from a tough neighborhood, but all the tough guys were trying to get out of the draft. They weren't. The real tough guys went, you know.
Right. Exactly.
But the guys who thought they were tough, and those are the guys, you know, they distanced themselves. You know,
They got out of it.
The thing in the book where there were 12 drinks in front of me. I remember that. I mean, and these are guys I played ball with. These are guys, and no one would sit with me.
Yeah.
No one.
But they'd buy you a drink.
Send
So bizarre.
And I had 12 of them in front of me. I just got up and walked out.
Yeah.
And that was it. I didn't go back in that bar for a long time. Yeah. But
yep. I liked the story about where you saw the other Marine or the other Vietnam veteran, and then you guys kind of teamed up. But it was like this like silence condition that you guys just knew each other in a way.
Oh, there was was it going to be a bar fight? You mean?
Yes. Yeah. That story.
Well, Steve and I, he was from the neighborhood. You know, he's German.
Yeah.
He teased him a lot, but he was a big guy. He was, you know, I was muscular, but he had 6 inches on me. He was big. And when he was in Nam, I was trying to get to Nam. He was already in Nam, and we sent a few letters back and forth. And when we got out, we teamed up 1 to 2 days, and then the bad side came in with me. You know, I started to see the dark side. And when I was in the bar, and believe me, it was like bad things would follow me. If I don't know you, I don't talk to you.
Yeah.
I just want to be left alone. I want to sit down and have a beer, leave me alone, you know. And there's always the tough guys. There's always, and the thing with me is, growing up, I was always shorter than everybody. You know, I'm on 5'6", but I was always strong.
Yeah.
Weights, I lifted for strength, not muscle.
Gotcha.
And it was one of those things where, how tough can this guy be? You're making a mistake, buddy.
Yeah.
You're making a mistake, because if I hit you, I'm lifting 400 pounds. You're out.
Yeah. It's for strength.
And then you get a little bit of a reputation, you know. And so it's like in the Old West, they want to shoot the best gunslinger, you know?
Right. Yeah.
It was funny that these guys, I even knew them, but they would really turn into really bad people, you know?
Yeah.
And they whatever they were doing or whatever they were taking or whatever it was. And I said, I knew that this was going to be bad for me. I really did. I just 4 or 5 of them. Now, one guy is nothing, but 4 or 5, nobody could beat 4 or 5 guys. I don't care.
Yeah.
And Steve is on the other end of the bar, and he's listening. And then he walks over and he sits next to me. Now they know they're not going to do anything. But 2 of us together, 4 guys isn't enough.
Yeah.
Too powerful, and we're both back from Nam. We're not thinking of fighting. We're thinking of killing.
Right.
That's what you got in your mind. I mean, this is life, you know. And they came to their feeling, and I said, "What took you?" He says, "I had to finish my beer." That's That was so typical. I said, well, I'll buy you another one. Next time you come a little quicker.
Right?
When it was done, he went right back across the other end of the bar. Like,
Yeah.
and I had, that's the way we were.
Yep.
Hearing that. That's a long time ago.
Yeah.
Long time ago.
I liked that story. It was like you guys just got each other without having to say the words.
Yeah, he had to be there. It was all meant. You know,
Yeah.
good guy. I haven't seen him since then.
Well, maybe he'll read the book and see that story.
Well, all the people that were in the book I mentioned, I made sure they got a copy.
Oh, nice. That's
a few of
awesome.
them got back to me and said, "Dan, it's great that But you can't find people.
That's true. Yeah.
Who knows where all these people are?
That's a good point.
The person that keeps in contact with me is John Booley.
Yeah.
And we went to a reunion a few months ago.
Oh, nice.
It's all the squadrons, the helicopter squadrons from Vietnam and everything. Everybody, I got there. I says, "Boy, everybody's so old."
Oh, that father time.
Husband should take you. If you're ever in DC, you go to 8th and I. He knows what 8th and I is. It's the first Marine barracks that we ever had, and they have the silent drill team. Really like this, And when we were there, and we're talking to generals, we were just, and it was good to know the Corps is still the Corps.
Yeah.
I mean, the Corps was still the Corps. The way we talked, everybody was there. It was still the Corps. You see these young guys and young women now.
Yeah.
I had 2 Marines come yesterday by the cart to want to shake my hand. They want to talk to me, and they put time in the Corps. The both of them,
Yeah.
Girl had tattoos, Marine tattoos, and all this stuff. I said, "We're Marines," and she says, "That's right, we're Marines." That's it.
Yeah, it's true. I see my husband get together with his Marine Corps buddies, and it's like no time has changed. Like it's like they're still there. They're the same people, and just listening to their stories. In fact, next year we're going to go to Philadelphia for the Tons Tavern, where the Marines were started. I guess it's the 200th or 300th birthday of the Marines, or something like that. So that should be a pretty cool trip.
It's amazing it's still there,
Well, it's not the same building. It's about half a block over, but they're rebuilding it to look like how the original Ton Tavern looked.
Well, it's natural that they would start out in a bar.
Exactly. It has to be a bar, right?
That would be, in fact, what your husband should do is, if you go to DC, is go to the Marine Corps Museum.
We've actually, him and I have been there. It was probably the best museum I've ever been to in my life.
So you walk through the helicopter I used to fly in.
Yep. Yes.
And when we went there, I guess it was in August we went. No, I don't know, some weeks back. And going through it, I said, "This thing is small." I said, I got some real good stories about being in this helicopter,
Right.
My God, there must have been something wrong with us to go up in these helicopters.
I know, it's crazy. Did you like the museum?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, I loved it.
It was a great museum. Yeah.
Do everything, It was nice the way they refrigerate the Korean room.
Yeah.
Those guys had it bad. My God, did they have it bad?
My father was in the Korean War. Yeah.
That was bad.
Yeah. They did a great job at that museum.
When I don't know if you remember this. You remember the Pueblo? When the Koreans took the Pueblo? This was in 1968.
Yeah.
Okay, we sent to Panama to test the M16. Now they got two company Marines. We touched back down to North Carolina, and they say, "Everybody stay where you are. We're going to Korea." And they had the 2 companies. We stood there for hours, stayed in the plane, waiting to take off again to go to Korea, because they just captured one of our spy ships or whatever.
Oh wow.
So all I kept thinking of, boy, is cold. I don't want to go there without. We just come out of the jungle in Panama, and all I was thinking about how cold it was going to be.
No doubt.
But we didn't go. Thank God that, politics got in the way, and that was something. I mean, these are little tiny stories, but I mean,
Oh
that
yeah.
shape your life. I mean,
Yeah, it's the things that you don't forget.
it's, between services and stuff. I saw one movie. I think it was Platoon. Did you ever see that movie, Platoon?
I'm not sure if I have.
The Vietnam movie is really not the greatest movie. It doesn't make us look like great people. One part in it, I got to tell you this. There's one part in it where they're using the ammo dump or the Quonset hut that they had for ammo as like a party place, the Army. And they're all doped up and, they're all. And so we used to fly missions into Laos, secret missions.
Yeah.
To go to a place called Fubai, or well, I went to Fubai, and that's where I touch off. We would go there. They would brief the pilots, and then we shoot in. So I was looking for ammunition. The Army took over the base. The Marines weren't there no more. The Army took over the base, and I needed some special ammunition. So I'm walking. I said, "Where's this ammo dump?" So the guy points over there, and the guy opened the door. It was exactly the same as the platoon. All these soldiers were in there doing whatever the hell they were doing. And I said, I need this stuff. And they said, and then he's looking at me, he says, ammo? He was, I said, let me get out of here. Let me get back to my own world.
Oh, that's great. What a good story.
That was fun. Then when I saw the movie Platoon, it upset me, and I said, but that was it.
You're like, but.
Oh, my God. A lot of different. When your husband was in the service, he went to Paris Island.
He went to Pendleton in San Diego. Yeah.
Okay. Well, on Paris Island, what you did was we went from Paris Island to Camp Geiger, was infantry training. Well, that's what we did, and they used to run us around the clock, go from one thing to the next thing. So you'd come in, and they got to feed you one meal a day. That's their thing. We're coming in and we're straggling. I mean, we're real bushed. And it's like 11 o'clock at night. And we had our Force Recon guys were trained there. And they would train the SEALs. They would train the Green Berets. They would teach them one thing. You go to their base, they teach you something else. Instead of doubling the schools. So you have a group of Green Berets there. And I'm sitting there and I'm practically falling asleep in my food. So the Green Beret goes to the guys that are serving the food. He says to the private, he says, can I have more? He says, sure. He says, but you got to wait because we only cook enough for what they tell us. But if anything's left over, we can have it. He says, no, you don't understand. He says, I'm a Green Beret. So here comes the cook.
Oh, no.
What's going on, guys? He said, the private in the Marines is going to just at a boot camp, Well, I told him, what you instructed, that if there's anything left, we can give him. So he says, okay, so what's wrong with that? The guy he made the mistake. He pulled out a strangling cord. The Marines were teaching him how to strangle.
Okay.
And the sergeant looked, he says, I'm a Green Beret. The cook, one shot, knocked the guy out. He's going to cook. He says, the other Green Beret said, when your friend wakes up, if there's anything left, you can have it. It was like he did it 100 times a day. I mean, it was, and I just put my head down and started eating again. It was so nothing. It was like, Jesus.
Like, well, I'm a cook, so here you go.
The guy was on the floor. He says, when he wakes up,
he can have the scraps.
I knew Green Berets were really great guys, but you always get assholes.
Oh, for sure.
Marine assholes. Everybody has a few, but they do. It was just how we all reacted to it. Like I reacted to it.
Just gonna keep eating.
It was nothing. I don't know Green Berets that would have not reacted like, holy Christ, what the hell has we got our hands?
Oh, that's great. That is so funny. What a line too. Well, I'm a cook.
I don't know if the cause the way it was then. When I went to boot camp, it was nothing to get punched in the face. Nothing.
Sure.
And I remember when we were in Nam, our sergeant major was recon. And when they start to get to that high rank, there were very few positions for these guys, you know. So he was the sergeant major of our squadron. So had to leave recon to go there. But he was crazy. He was really out there. And he would come up with all kinds of crazy things for us to do. Minigun on a pickup truck that would turn over because it was too powerful. He's going to form up a little 3-man recon team. And I used to run the guys at night, so I heard about it, you know. So in the morning, I walked into him and I said, you know, Sergeant Major, you're going to do this. I want to come. And I wore glasses, you know. And he says, we don't take 4 eyes. Get out of here. I looked at him, I said, 4 eyes? I said, I'm the strongest guy in the squadron. He jumps over the desk. He's about 6'3". He jumps over the desk and we go hand to hand and I bring him down. I was strong when I was a young kid. You son of a bitch, you'll be here. We got one great. I mean, that was the core, you know. That was it. That was real core. You know, none of this salute and all this bullshit. These were Marines that wanted, you know, it was like in a like I said, there was a certain group of us. It was just in us, you know.
Yeah.
If you saw something happen, you know, when they say when you hear the sound of a gun, where? You go for the shot.
Yeah.
Came from over there, let's go. That's what we're here for, you know.
Well, isn't there the saying, like the Marines are always the first to go? Like they're the first to enter a, conflict.
You know, they had the first Iraqi war. They were getting things ready. There was an army colonel. He did 5 tours in Nam. He had a famous army. He says it's taken the army 6 months to get ready. The Marines were ready that day. He says you got to hand it to these guys. They just stop what they're doing, pick up their gear, and go. There's no where do we gotta go? He said,
yeah.
Just he said, and he was a career army. He's just amazing.
Yeah.
How it's inbred in them. Where do we go? You know, it was just that's a nice compliment. You know,
that's a nice compliment. First to fight, kind of thing. I think is what that saying is. First to fight. You know, but yeah, that's a really nice compliment. Especially coming from another branch.
I remember when our squadron had notoriety, only because there was only a couple of gunship squadrons in the Marines, and the commandant came to inspect us. Now, commandant is like God in the Marine Corps.
Gotcha.
You know? And the sergeant major of the Marine Corps is with him. Now, he's God too. He's the God of the enlisted, many other guys. So I worked the night crew and I heard that he was coming to inspect. So I said, you know what? I'm never going to see a commandant. You know, let me go over there. So we're there and there's a few of us. And in walks the sergeant major of the Marine Corps. And he says, why aren't you guys in formation? You know, everybody else is standing at attention. And I said, you know, we worked the night crew. We didn't have to be here, but we want to see the commandant, you know, want to see what's going on. He says, oh, that's nice. He's talking. He says, well, what do you think? And nobody's talking to him, you know, about the war. So nobody's talking to him. So he says, somebody's got to have an opinion. What the hell's going on? I says, we're going to talk man to man or we're going to talk sergeant major to corporal? He says, oh, man to man. I says, well, what are we doing here? We're Marines. We're supposed to be up north.
Yeah.
What are we doing? I'm here. I said, do you know that on my mission yesterday, we wiped out the same village I wiped out 3 months ago? We're not supposed to be here. We're Marines. And he got so red in the face. I mean, he was like his head was going to come up. I said, remember, man to man.
Man to man.
I got the hell out of there.
I bet.
1 minute. But that was true. I mean, you know, when we were there, it was so bad that the officers didn't know what to tell us to do. They were conflicting orders all day long. It was so bad. It was ridiculous. And they knew it. It killed morale, you know.
Oh, for sure.
Those are the things. Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are nice stories. They're not bad stories.
No, those are, yeah.
Yeah.
Those are great. Yep.
Yeah, we couldn't put everything in the book. You know, couldn't do that.
Oh, no. You're talking a lifetime right there. I mean.
Oh, the book was a lot thicker, you know.
Yeah.
Threw the pages away, you know. We got to keep throwing them away.
I'm sure. Lots of editing and stuff. Yeah, it's a great book though. It's page turner. I think I read it in a day and a half.
I'm sorry we can't market it. It would sell a lot better. But
Oh, for sure.
you know,
Well, if you're okay with it, I'll post it all over my social media, so that might help.
you know who Andy Cohen is?
Is that, I think I saw on your Instagram you did an interview with him.
Yeah. No, I was on his TV show.
Oh, on his TV show, yes. That's with what is it? It starts with a Bravo.
Yeah, Bravo. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know who the hell he was. My daughter said, "No, you got to go. This guy's a big guy." I stood behind the bar, and, but it was nice. They showed the book. We sold about 100 books when he did that.
That's awesome.
That's a lot, And I never even heard of the guy. I said I might go back again.
There you go. Well, I don't have as big of an audience as he does, but we'll still promote it.
You know what it is? You never know who's listening.
That's true.
And sooner or later, someone's going to hear this and they're going to say, "Oh, we got to straighten this out."
There you go.
That's
absolutely.
Somebody who can do it.
Yep.
And there are a lot of good people out there. I always tell my kids, there's always good people. You get in a jam, you're not going to know it, but somebody's going to come out and to them, it's going to be just something they do. But that's what their nature. They're going to help you just to help you because that's what they are,
That's true. Yeah.
A lot more good than bad. It's just that people got their own world to go into. That's all.
That's a good point. It's a really good point. Yeah. Well, I truly enjoyed this interview. I have one more question for you, though. Do you have a hot dog with sausage and peppers on it?
No.
Yeah, no. Or peppers and onions, sorry.
What we did when we went in front of the Met, we tried everything.
Yeah.
We had Big Ziti. We did everything out there. We had the pool. We did everything. All they want is a hot dog. Because everybody there is a tourist coming out.
True.
And they want a New York hot dog. And I had this big steam table. We didn't even use it. I said, well, this makes our life easy,
There you go. That's true. And hey, if it sells, you got to go for it.
We went ahead and I've been around a long time. So I know the company guys who make the hot dogs, And we went through every brand of hot dog that we could buy locally in bulk. Not that you have a specialty hot dog. And I said, we're going to find, forget the price of the hot dogs, because they were pretty close. Everything's close. I said, I want to give them the best hot dog and something that's consistent, because sometimes you buy a brand, you put them on the grill, some of them shrink, some of them grow. I mean, where they buy? So we went ahead and I always passed up this one brand, and then one day, we're selling, I think, Hebrew National, and they're good. They're a good hot dog, and they didn't have the jumbo. So I said, let me grab this other thing because I'm not going to go crazy trying to find these things. And we used to have an a cappella group. The guys singing, guys singing, and we fed them all the time. They were always grubbing food. So they come by for their daily thing, and they walk away from that. They come back and they said, "Where'd you get this hot dog?" And then we started to hear it from people, the customers. They would buy one, come back, give me another. That was good. We never heard this before with all the other, not even with Hebrew National. We never heard it.
Yeah.
And I said, "Holy Christ, what the hell is this?" And I had one. I said, "They are good." And we hit a home run with it.
And that's it.
So now I'm going to tell all you people what to buy.
Okay.
Costco brand.
What is the brand?
The Costco brand, Kirkland.
Ooh.
The jumbo hot dog is the best hot dog you're going to find anywhere.
Okay.
And we tried. We did, and some of the guys, I know personally, they were upset. Dan, you buy it from me now. I said, guys, try this hot dog. It's a better hot dog you're selling.
And you have the proof. People were coming back.
Come back. Oh yeah. Just yesterday, a guy from Germany came, and he saw me on something, and he says, "I just want to tell you, you really do have a really good hot dog." For German, that's a big compliment because
that's true.
They're into their hot dogs and stuff,
They are. Did he put sauerkraut on it?
Yeah, he just had made a short hot dog.
I can't do the sauerkraut.
If I'm there, all day, at least 10 people talk to me.
Yeah.
At least they saw me somewhere, or they thanked me. I don't know what you're thanking me for. I'm just doing what you're supposed to do. It feels good.
Oh, for sure.
And the thing that was good was the last time they shut me down in May, the people were angry. The customers were angry.
Yeah.
They heard it. One woman went to their councilman. What are you doing to this guy? I mean, that's something.
Yeah.
One neighbor guy came. He was actually yelling, "Why did they do this?" Because they
You're
right.
Yeah.
They were not trying to do nothing wrong. We're just doing it right.
Exactly.
That's nice. I mean, she knows I sleep in the van every now and then. She brings me cookies.
Oh, that's sweet. Oh, that's cute.
She would come by and she would just look in the window. She says, "I'm just making sure you're okay."
Oh.
That's really sweet. That's nice stuff. I laugh because, here's this little old lady. She's worried about me.
You're like, I'm fine. But it's those little things that kind of keep you moving forward because it just makes you feel good.
Well, they know us. I mean, after all these years, look, everything we've done, even though we with the arrest and everything, I was always right.
Yeah.
I was, and the reason why all these vets got permits is because of me.
Yeah.
Because the streets are open is because of me. I stopped them from closing the streets. I got them the permits. What they do with the permits is a different story. You know, like illegally leasing and all that stuff. That's different.
Yeah.
But it was supposed to be done. And like I said, I got one more thing to do. And, I can't tell you what to do once you get it, but you deserve it. You're supposed to have it.
Yep.
That's that I think that's why they're coming at me. They know where I'm going. Because I keep saying, what's going on, guys?
Drain you. Which is why you need to go to Alaska and get that gold.
Every night when I'm laying in that van, if it's really quiet, you could hear it. Come and get me. I'm sitting here. I don't let anybody take it. I'm coming.
That's my gold.
Sitting right there. I know exactly where it is. I don't have to dig. It's sitting on a rock. I know where it is. I'm going to go right to it, pick it up, and that's it.
Maybe your grandma's guarding it with her stick for you.
Maybe.
Yep.
Get up there. She can meet me up there.
There you go. Yep. Well, Danny, sorry, this was great. I truly enjoyed it. Do you want to plug any of your social media? Do you before?
I spoke to my daughter about that stuff.
Okay.
I don't know too much about it. I think I just learned Zoom about a month ago.
I gotcha. Well, I will put all of that in our notes and everything so that they can find you. And you can buy his book, The New York Hot Dog King, on Amazon. So look for that. It's a great read. But yeah, thank you again for reaching out to me. I'm truly honored to have you as my very first interview.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm still a small podcast, but I'm working every day on it.
Well, you'll get there, like anything else. You start, just clicks. You just got to find interesting people, not boring people like me. You got to find.
No, you were great. So
make sure you say hello to your husband for me.
I will definitely, and tell your family that I said hello and thank you for everything. So
good.
All right.
I'm gonna go.
All right. Well, good. Have a good rest of your day and good luck. And again, I appreciate it. Thank you for your service.
Thank you, though. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye.